Hiya, welcome back to another tutorial. I hope you enjoyed the last one. It was really enjoyable. I had great fun painting that sunset. This week we are going to be painting a cottage, a nice Irish cottage. Nice raw Irish landscape, a real old traditional cottage. So I hope you enjoy it this week. Some nice earthy colours. As you know, I love using earthy colours. I'm going to put the photograph on your screen for you now so you can see what we're painting. And this is a really nice traditional old-fashioned kind of a cottage, real Irish scene that we're going to be painting this week. And I'm going to be painting it on this canvas board which I have primed well. I primed it twice. It measures 20 inches by 14 high, so a nice landscape kind of a canvas this week. Also, I'm not using my normal palette because it's a bit messy and it's very difficult for you people out there to see what I'm painting, so, and to see me mixing. So I used my tearaway palette, which I have here. And when I'm finished with this one, I can just tear it off, chuck it in the bin, and I have a fresh one underneath. So that's what I'm going to use this week, so you can see me mixing properly, okay? So I apologise if you couldn't see me mixing on my last video. It's just the way I paint. I'm very messy like that. I don't like cleaning palettes and all that type of thing. I just leave things go hard and I paint away on top of them again the next time. I know it's a bit silly, but that's just me. Everyone is different, aren't they? So listen, that's it. I have a picture on my tablet behind me here. I have all my usual stuff around me. My palette, my paints. I'll go through the paints with you there in a sec, just once I put the camera up overhead. I have my usual paints, my tissue, my turpentine, a nice selection of brushes, lots of different shapes and sizes, but for the most part they're just normal flat synthetic brushes. That's what I use, flat synthetic brushes, different sizes. I use a couple of fan brushes and some nice little pointy ones as well. So they're my brushes, and these will do me for any kind of a painting, really. This is all the brushes I would use. So that's my brushes. Let me put that down here. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed this. Actually, there's one more thing I wanted to show you. And it's the sunset that I painted last time with a frame. It looks really stunning with a frame. So I'm just going to unclip the camera there just for a minute, and I'm going to find that painting and I want to show you that painting in a frame because it looks really stunning. So let's go and have a look. So bear with me now, guys. Right, where is it? It's around here somewhere. This is going to be fun, isn't it? Trying to find, oh yes. There's one more I wanted to show you here, the lighthouse, which I also painted, and I want to show you that framed. Isn't that stunning? So these are my own handmade frames now, everyone. I make these myself, and there's a lot of work in these frames. I'll be very honest. There's probably more work in the frame than there is in the painting, really. But I enjoy making them. It's kind of my own design that I came up with, and they're finished with nice bright cream satin wood. And doesn't that really set the painting off? And it's a real deep kind of a frame, so it really kind of stands out. You see, it stands out from the wall about 2 or 3 inches, and it really sets them off. Now these paintings are for sale on Etsy as well if you want to go and take a look. But you know, I'm just trying to fund my hobby. That's kind of what I'm trying to do here. Now let me see if I can find this lovely sunset. God, I don't know where it's gone. There's probably, oh yeah, there it is. Now, it's over here hanging up, and let me just put this up here for you so you can see properly. And what do you think of that? Isn't that nice? I took your advice, I left out trees and stuff, I just left it as it was, and I'm very happy with that. Isn't that just gorgeous? Now I just have to try and find a home, because my own home is full. So I must try and find a home for this painting. Isn't it lovely? And I think that was a big success. And you can kind of see the hills now off in the distance that I was putting in, just very, very slightly. And nice rich colours all the way up. And wasn't that fun? So I hope you enjoyed it. So that's it. Let me turn the camera around here, my phone. Let me turn my phone camera around. So that's it. Let's crack on with this. An Irish cottage. I hope you get some hints and tips from this. And we're going to use some nice earthy colours. So I hope you like what I do. Again, I'm just going to simplify everything for you. So let's have some fun. And happy painting, guys. I hope you're following me along. Get your palettes and get your easel and your brushes and paints out and try and follow me along if you can. It'll be a bit of fun. So I'll see you very soon. I'm just going to hook this up here and we will have a go at this. So thanks very much. Again, thank you very much for your support on Patreon, and thank you for all the lovely comments that you're sending me and the criticisms and looking for advice, looking for my opinion on your paintings. I'm more than happy. So thank you very much for that. So let's crack on with this, guys. Let's have a bit of fun. And I hope you enjoy it. Don't go anywhere. So I'm going to explain to you my colours that I'm using. And I have a nice palette, a nice earthy palette today. I have titanium white. I have Naples yellow, burnt umber, cadmium red. I have burnt sienna. I have some cobalt blue. I might use a little phthalo blue later, I'll see. But for now, just cobalt blue, some lamp black and some cadmium yellow. A little touch of cadmium yellow. So there are colours. A nice soft palette today. So nice soft colours, nice earthy soft colours. And you can see this canvas board now is well primed. 2 coats of primer. It's not spotless. There's a little couple of spots here and there from a previous, when I was painting. It just kind of splattered onto it, but it's fine. So ladies and gentlemen, let's get a pencil and start drawing. I'm looking at the photograph and the horizon line is quite high up, isn't it? It's just above halfway. It's a good bit above halfway actually. Let's see. Let's go about here, shall we? We could bring it down a little bit more if you wanted to make the sky a bit bigger to show more clouds. You know, we could mess around with it. Let's bring it down a little. So let's put our horizon line straight across there. Now, what I might do is just measure that to get the same on the other side, because I want to mask off this, and that is, do you know what? I can't even see because my ruler has so much paint on it. Okay? And that's 18 centimeters down. Let's do the same on this, 18 centimeters down. Draw a line there, and I'm going to just put my masking tape right across that, and that'll give me a nice clean horizon line then when I'm finished my sky. So there we go, just a little. And we have a bank. It comes up right up very high, doesn't it? Comes across like that, slight angle, and we have our houses, and we also have a brick wall, which I might suggest. I'd suggest a little bit of a brick wall here, like so, and then we have another bank. As you see, I'm just keeping this very loose. I'm just I'm kind of looking at the separating lines on the painting. That's all. So we have a kind of a bank that comes along here, don't we? And just draw that in very quickly. And we have another bank that comes down here. So now the cottage, which is the focal point, and you could. What I might do actually is zoom in on the cottage slightly, make the cottage slightly bigger than what it is. So I'll start here. I'm just going to emphasize it a little bit more, that's all. And it comes at a slight angle downwards because the cottage is sort of turned slightly away from us. So this line is going to come down slightly. And let's bring it down to about here. And let's put in this gable end here, and the line on the top is going to be slightly higher than this, so it's not going to be the same as this because it's going away off, and to create the perspective that we need, I'm going to make it lower on this side and higher on this side. Now on the photograph it doesn't show that a huge amount, but I'm going to do it just slightly to give it a little bit of depth. And okay, it comes up a little bit here and it comes across like this again. And then we have the gable, like so. Now, it's kind of all grassy stuff around here. So the roof, the roof is very sort of shallow, isn't it? And it comes up here like that. A very old thatched cottage, and this extension then has a galvanized roof on it. So I'm going to suggest that there, and a little chimney stack on top. Down like so. And then finish the gable end like this. And that'll do, that's okay. We have a little window here. So I'm going to follow the lines with the windows. We have a door down here, don't we? And we have a window next to it. Nice small window. And that'll do for the cottage. We also have a little chimney here, but I can put that in later. So that's it. That's all the drawing we need, I would say. Now let me just put on my heater here, guys, because it's getting quite cold. It's still very, very cold in Ireland at this time of the year. We're in the spring, but it is absolutely freezing. Would you believe it? So I'm going to put my heater on. And I know there's going to be a bit of background noise on the microphone, but honestly, it is freezing. And I don't want my hands to start shaking in a minute. So let me give my hands a rub here now, get them nice and warm, see? And let's get an old brush. So we're going to start on with the sky, and it's going to be a nice, kind of a soft grey sky. Nice and earthy. So I'm going to take my brush, I'm going to dip it in my turpentine and dry it on my tissue. So this is dry. I'm going to just dip it in quickly. So it's now saturated with turpentine, and I'm just going to soak off the excess. And that's how I start every painting. So I'm going to take some white. A good dollop of white. I hope you can see all of this okay now. Please let me know if I can improve these tutorials any way at all. I am trying to get everything in for you. Later on, I might zoom in on the cottage when I'm painting the cottage. Just zoom in on this section so you can see it properly. I know the camera is kind of quite far back. It might be difficult for you all out there to see the little details. But I have to just use what equipment I have. So look, I'm going to take some white into the center of the palette here, and I'm going to take a little blue, little cobalt blue, and we have a nice bright blue there, don't we? And I'm just going to put a little bit of blue sky poking through up here. Now I could make it a bit bluer, so let's take a bit more blue, and a little bit of blue just creeping into the sky, and you can see it's very wet. So I'm just going to dab it on my tissue to soak up some of that turpentine, and then pick up more white and more blue. So that's how I kind of control my mixing, just by drying it on the tissue. It's just there, a bit of blue just there. Make it a little bit stronger, just a little. And at this stage I'm just going to dry that colour very quickly, and I'm going to go into some black. Let's take some black, and I'm going to mix a nice grey for the sky. So I'm just going to, you can see now it's quite kind of thick. I can feel it. It's very difficult to explain to you on camera how it feels here. It feels very thick and sticky. So I'm going to just dip the corner of my brush into the turpentine, just a little, just to take a slight amount. And let me try this. And you can know yourself when you put it on if it's a little too dry or a little too wet. That is not too bad. It might be a little on the dry side for me, but it's not too bad. I'm just going to pull that across here. Let me mix up another little bit. So I'm going to use more blue, or more white, sorry. More white, and a touch of the black, and perhaps even a touch of blue. Lighten that slightly. And I kind of tend to work very quickly when I'm painting skies like this. I don't like to kind of linger around too much on the sky. I think for me, when I do that, I get very sort of I try and kind of focus too much on little things. I just kind of prefer to work nice and quick and loose like this. I hope you don't mind, I really don't. probably slightly annoying for you people watching to see me kind of painting so quickly. I do apologise for that, but it's just what I'm used to be honest. I've always kind of painted like this, especially when I'm doing skies, and I kind of tend to slow down then when I'm doing the rest of the painting. But I love to get skies in kind of quick like this. And it shows when the painting is finished as well. It's very kind of a natural sky. So let's take a bit more white. I just want to lighten this now as it goes off into the distance. So a grey sky over Connemara in Ireland, and this is Connemara, cottage in Connemara up in Galway. Beautiful part of the country for ever visiting Ireland. You have to get to Connemara, but don't forget to come to Cork first. I'm only joking. Right, a bit of white into that, and then nice and bright down at the back, down at the end here. I might even take a bit of blue, just to lighten that away off in the distance. So we have a nice grey kind of a background on our sky, and into this I'm going to start putting some dark clouds and some white clouds. Yes? And I like that little bit of blue showing through there. That's quite nice, isn't it? So at this point I'm going to put this brush down, and I'm going to pick up a smaller brush. Let's see. I'll pick up this little fellow here, and I will dampen that very slightly because it's quite dry, this brush, and give it a good dry on my tissue. Now it's pretty much dry. It's only very, very slightly damp. There's hardly anything in this at all because it's quite wet. And I'm going to mix a darker grey. You can see up on the top of the sky there's some nice dark grey kind of flicking through here and there, isn't there? So I'm just going to take some black, and I'm going to mix everything on the same spot here. So a little bit of black, and into that I might take a touch of red. Now this is going to warm it slightly. So a tiny touch of cadmium red, and I'm kind of looking for a warm grey. I don't want a kind of a very cold grey. So let me just check this for a sec. That's not bad. I think we'll go with that for now. So I'm going to come down at a very slight angle with these clouds now. I'm just kind of flicking it left and right, you see? And I'm coming down at a very slight angle, and that gives this some perspective. So because the sky is so high up, I want to create some distance in the sky and create some perspective. So I'm going to just make very horizontal lines here and there. Nice and soft. There we go. And I might take a bit of blue into that as well, actually. And just around here, I'll put a couple floating across. And it's kind of breaking up the blue sky then as well, you see? And every time I paint a cloud, they kind of disappear off to a point, you see? Every cloud I do. And continue this one on. And already you can see this now coming together nicely, can't you? And I'm going to continue with some nice warm clouds over here. I'm just kind of scrubbing them on, wiggling the brush as I go along. And you can see how thin this is now. It's really very thin on the canvas. I'm working quite thin. So let's take a little bit more blue, a little bit more black, and I might add some darker ones in, just here and there. It's rich ones down here. So they're being pulled down into the sky at a slight angle. You see? And I'm not copying the photograph exactly. I'm just using it, again, I'm just using it as a reference for colours. I'm not too bothered about where the clouds are exactly. It's just a reference. And that's what I do. I will try and get it fairly close. But a landscape like this, particularly a sky, again, one or two of these just around here and there. And I come down here and do a couple as well, just one or two, as you can see. And it's just basically horizontal lines, that's kind of all I'm painting. So at this stage I'm going to soften all of this now with a soft brush. Yes, and let me get a nice, gently, I'm going to pull down in that angle. There we go. And as I come further down then, it's going to be straight right across the canvas from left to right. You see? And that makes a nice, holding everything down into the center. To a smaller brush, and let me just have a look here now. I'm finding a nice little flat one. There we go. This guy will do. Nice flat clean brush, nice and soft, and I'm going to pick up some white for now. I'll just use white for now, and I'm going to maybe add a touch of Naples yellow into this in a minute. So first I'm just going to go along and suggest some bright parts here and there off in that distance. Okay, very loosely. And I might even just brighten it right up down at the very end. When the brush gets dirty, I'm rubbing it on a tissue like this just to keep it clean. And I'm going to put in one or two like so as well. And now I'm going to highlight some of these ones up here. So just creating some nice bright edges around here and there on the clouds. And do the same with this. So you see, we can soften these then with the soft blender brush when we're finished, and it'll give us some nice soft little highlights here and there on the cloud. And again, I can't stress enough, guys, ladies and gents, that I am keeping this very simple. Let's put a little around here like that. You see, I'm only just kind of flicking the brush around here and there. I'm not kind of taking my time doing small little areas. I'm just kind of being very loose and messy with the brush. I'm going to put one or two up here. Okay, like that. And what I might actually do is take a touch of Naples yellow with this. So a tiny touch of Naples with some white. And that might give it a little bit of a kick. There we go. And let's come up here. Let's put a couple of light areas, just catching the clouds up there. And it's really fun doing this kind of painting. It's very good practice. It really kind of helps you to fine-tune your techniques, just kind of messing around on a sky like this, which is of course how you learn, isn't it? And let's put a couple up there, just like that. And I might get some nice bright area in around the middle here, just to break that spot up a little bit, because it seems quite kind of bland at the moment in there. And let's soften this together and see how it looks. Yes, very gently. And I'm going to gently soften just some of those clouds in. I do want to leave some bit of texture on the cloud, so I'm not going to soften them too much. I just want to keep some little bits of the brush stroke. There we are. And let's take a look at that. It's not bad. I could perhaps make one or two brighter clouds, maybe bigger clouds even, on the right hand side there. I think I might. So I'm going to clean my flat brush that I just used earlier, and nice and clean. I'm going to pick up some Naples yellow, and I might pick up a touch of cadmium red. Okay, only the tiniest little touch. And let me just put more white on my palette here because it's run out again. So a little Naples yellow, cadmium red, and some white. I want a nice warm colour, nice warm highlight up here. So let's go along here and add a touch of that into our sky. And I'm going to add some more brighter ones around here on this side because it is a little bland for me. So I'm just going to pull some of that nice colour in there just on the right hand side. So a little Naples yellow again, a little touch of cadmium red, and nice warm sunlit kind of a cloud where the sun is just kind of catching it here and there, yes? So that's a nicer colour now, isn't it? So let's take our soft brush, and what I might actually do is soften the very end of that sky right in to make it nice and almost like a misty colour. So I'm just going to look, I'm going to soften everything right in here. There we go. And then I'm going to put in some hills off in the distance with this little brush and pick up some of the grey which I used earlier, and a very loose suggestion of some hills off in the distance there. Let's take some blue and take some red, some white, maybe a touch of black. And I'm making it more blue now to create some distance in the hill. So a blue colour will really kind of push things off into the distance. And I might just thin that ever so slightly. There we go. And there's also a reason why I want to keep these slightly darker, because when I take off the masking tape to paint the ocean, I want something dark on the top of the ocean, just to separate the sky from the ocean, if you understand. So that's why I'm putting these in kind of fairly dark, just a little bit on the dark side. So that'll give us a nice little contrast then. Alright, there we go. So we're getting there now. This is going to be a nice painting when it's finished, I would say. And again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for supporting me on my Patreon page, because every euro, every dollar, everything goes completely towards these tutorials. It's just to buy canvas and paints. That's pretty much it. Hopefully, if I get enough patrons, I could buy a good camera and I could buy good microphones, that type of thing. So I really do appreciate all the support you're giving me, believe it or not, I really do. And it means everything to me. Now I'm just going to darken some areas on these, create a little bit of shadow. Like that. And I will then perhaps just soften here and there into the sky. And that'll give us even more distance again, won't it? So you see, I'm putting the sky down into the hills just here and there, creating a bit of mist off in the distance. So now we have pretty much our sky finished. We can move on to our ocean, and then we will crack on and do this lovely cottage. So let me take off my masking tape. Look at this lovely clean line. Isn't that fantastic? So the ocean, I'm just going to keep it nice and simple. It's a very light ocean. I'm just going to mix a little bit of white, a little bit of blue, and there's already a kind of a mucky colour on the palette here, which I'm just going to mix it all in together. It's just basically a very light grey. Now, let's start off with something light like this, and we can darken it as it comes down. Let me get more paint again. So let's take some white, let's take a little blue, take a touch of red, let's put that across the top there, and I'm being very careful now with my top edge. So a nice clean straight edge across the top. And if you want, you can use like a little stick or something against your easel to help you with this. I find when painting straight lines like this, it's always easier to lean right down on the full brush. So right down and pull it across slowly, rather than trying to use the tip of the brush like this. So I'll always lean full right down with the full brush, look, and it makes it nice and straight. It's just much easier. Now a little bit of blue, and let's take a little bit of black. Again, I'm keeping this earthy, a little on the earthy side. A touch of red. Touch of burnt umber perhaps. And pull that across. And you see, at this stage then what I'm thinking is I'm going to have a nice pale kind of a yellowy fawny colour on the roof. So I want a nice contrast then between that and the ocean. So I'm not going to make the ocean too dark. Alright? I'm just going to keep it just a little on the lighter side for now. And there's going to be a nice contrast then later on when we're painting the roof, you see. Because if I paint a dark ocean and then I paint a dark roof, you're not going to see it very well. So I'm just keeping it nice and soft for now, kind of neutral. Let's take a little bit of Naples yellow into that there actually. I could have used, if I wanted to, I could have used kind of nice warm sunsetty colours and stuff like that. But I want to keep this a very soft landscape because I want the focus to be on the cottage just here. And this is where all the detail is going to go, you see. So I'm just keeping it kind of loose for that reason. Now, I'm just going to pull a bit of white through that here and there. And what I might do is take some blue, a touch of that black. So let's make a very rich colour here now, just for along here. I'm just going to pull that through just a little bit here and there. Just hit and miss. So I'm going to soften that now with this soft brush again. And you could even soften the horizon line as well if you wish, into the hills. And then I'm going to take a palette knife. So I'm going to take this palette knife and put a little bit of white, actually this bright sundaty kind of a colour. I'm going to take some of that. But it's mostly white, to be honest. It's just pretty much white on the palette knife, and just here and there I'm just going to suggest some sort of waves and things off in the distance, just kind of breaking here and there. And I'm really now being very loose, again, loose with this. It's just a suggestion. Alright? And it just kind of helps as well, give the water a little bit of a shimmer. But I'm not doing this the whole way across, just here and there. And that'll even do. Just like that. So let's leave it at that. Again, we'll step back and take a look. Okay, it's fine for now. Next we have this plot of land here, which I'm going to, I'll do that now. And what I'll do is I'll move to a slightly rougher brush. So this little brush right here, I'm going to dampen it slightly, and I'm going to pick up some, it's a very cool kind of a browny kind of a colour, isn't it? So some Naples yellow, little touch of burnt umber, and some white. And I'm going to keep this pale as well because it's kind of off in the distance again, isn't it? Let's take a touch of yellow into that. And let's just put that in along the edge here, like so. What I'll do is, as it comes closer, I'll take a little black and a little touch of burnt sienna. So it's getting darker as it comes closer to us. And that sienna is just a lovely colour, isn't it? I'm going through my house slightly, because we can fix that later. Don't worry about that. What I will do is make it very dark down here. So I'm going to take some black cadmium red, and let's just put that in here, and flicking the brush up just here and there to create some texture on the field. So now on the photograph, I can see on the photograph that this is actually sort of very far away off in the distance, isn't it? But I'm not going to try and create all those little details. I'm just going to keep this nice and simple, and I'll just probably get my flat brush and just indicate some little fields here and there. So with this flat brush, give it a quick rinse, just dip it in and give it a good clean on our tissue. And I'm going to take some burnt umber, cadmium yellow, and that's going to give us a kind of a brownish green, isn't it? So let's take a bit of yellow, plenty of yellow into this now. And again, a little touch of white, just to knock that back and give it a bit of distance. And I'm going to suggest just very lightly here and there, kind of the impression of some fields off in the distance. So I'm just going to drag it across here and there. And let me take some white with some cadmium yellow and hit that with some highlights just here and there. So I'm just creating the impression of some kind of fields and stuff off in the distance there. Just pull it down into that darker colour. And then what I'll do is with my small brush, small pointy brush, get some dark colour, and let's just suggest a couple of rows of hedges, things like that. You see? I'm just keeping it very simple. Now you can, if you can, you can go into loads of detail and put in roadways and all this kind of thing, but I'm just going to keep this nice and easy on the eye. I want all the focus to be on the cottages here. So, nice and simple. And we can put in some bushes and things like that as well if you like. So if I take some burnt umber with a dry brush, and let's take a touch of lamp black as well, we could even suggest a couple of bushes here and there, you see? And then we can hit them with some highlights as well, you see. And then let me take another brush and put some brighter highlights on those. And again, we cut across underneath those, and that will sit those down in that field. There we are. You see? It's just all very impressionistic. That's what I call it. I would say it's probably very impressionistic now, just off in the distance. And I want to keep it very kind of free. I'm not kind of bothered too much about showing loads of details, that kind of stuff. You can if you want, but I'm just keeping it nice and fresh and loose. Okay? Just like that. Do you know what we will do? Let's put in one or two little hints of detail just here and there. Look like little poles or something, you know? That kind of stuff. Leave things off in the distance. A couple of little marks, that's all they are. And that'll do fine. Next, ladies and gentlemen, the part I've been looking forward to all the time, our lovely cottage. I'm going to put this in with a Naples yellow and a burnt umber. So let's pick up loads of Naples yellow. Let's pull that down. I'm just going slightly up into the ocean now because I covered my pencil lines earlier. So a little bit of Naples yellow, a little bit of white. Let's pull that down there. And remember, when you're painting a roof like this, always pull the brush strokes in the direction of the roof or the slates or whichever angle it's coming down at. I'll always pull the brush strokes down this way, and that tells you that tells the eye which direction the roof is falling. Does that make sense? So I wouldn't paint it straight across like this, left and right. I would just pull it straight down like this in the same angle as that roof. You see? And immediately that tells you the roof is falling in this direction here. It's coming down like this. So we have that in. That was simple, wasn't it? Then I'm going to switch to a smaller brush. Okay, little pointy brush here. And just dampen it slightly. And I'm going to pick up some thick burnt umber on its own. And I'm going to put some little flicks through here and there. Very, very roughly. Just flick it through. Now I want to keep this area nice and light. I don't want to go too dark with that, so I'm just going to leave some of that and just pulling some of these dark bits of thatch through the roof, just like that. Now it is quite dark over here, isn't it? So I'm going to really darken that down, And I might even put some black in there as well in a minute. In fact, we could even put some red. We could put a hint of red in there to warm it slightly. And that will complement this reddy colour we have here as well. And let's take some burnt sienna. So burnt sienna is a nice warm colour for a thatched roof, isn't it? And then pick up some black, and let's go right over to the edge here with some black, because I know it is very, very dark there, isn't it? And then pull some along here and there, just along the bottom, like so. So we can see it coming together. Now I'm just rinsing this brush, and I'm going to move to a little smaller one again, and I'm going to pick up some Naples yellow, some nice rich Naples yellow, and I'm going to put some nice rich Naples yellow just here and there as well. And just creating some little highlights here and there. So the roof is not 100% perfect, it's not completely intact. There's a couple of loose bits here and there, kind of sticking out, as you'd say, you know. Just flicking the brush down just like this, you see? Here, there and everywhere. And I'm going to go right in now with some, so what I will do, I'll mix a very dark purple. Let's take some blue and some red. And I'm going to go right in under here with some dark purple. And that'll really give us a lovely shadow, won't it? Now, there we go. So you can see how it's all coming together very nicely. And we'll leave that roof for now. We'll move on to our red galvanized one. I'm going to take a little flat brush, and I'm going to take some red, and the brush now is slightly damp again. Let's take some red, and I might add a touch of Naples yellow to it, just to take the reddiness out of that, and I might add a touch of burnt sienna. So I'm just going to test this first, yes? Let's just test this first now, ladies and gents. And it's a bit pink. Let's take some more burnt sienna. So this now is going to make it a more of a kind of a red rusty kind of a colour. Just come down under that there, and pulling it down at the angle again. So we have a red rusty colour on that. What I'm going to do then is I'm going to start adding a touch of, let me see now, let's take a touch of blue. No, I think actually a touch of black, a slight hint of black. And to create some contrast here between this yellow and this red, I'm going to just darken it on this side very slightly. Okay, you see? Very slightly, and then I'm going to pull it gently back into the lighter colour. So it almost disappears, it fades away, doesn't it? You see that? I'm going to go another little bit, and just towards the end, darken that across. And I'm using very, very thin mixes of black now on my brush. It's very, very thin. I've literally just picked up a little bit on the side here. And very gently pull that in. What I might do is take a little bit of blue and a little red, making a kind of a nice mauve colour. Put that along the edge here and soften it in. So I'm just trying to create some contrasts on this. Now what I'm going to do with this roof here is I'm just going to soften it very slightly, because some of those brush strokes are a little on the heavy side. I'm just going to soften it very gently, again following the same angle as the roof. There, I think that's a bit better. I will warm it, I think, in a minute. It's a little cold, but for now it's fine. And what I'm going to do then to create a kind of a very rough effect of the paint coming off on this roof is I'm just going to take my palette knife, scrape a little bit of that yellow, or that white, I do beg your pardon, a little bit of the white, and just here and there, in fact, you know what I might do? I will use a little plastic pointy one, yes? So a little bit of that colour, that light whitey colour, and I'm going to just drag here and there just to create the impression of the paint kind of wearing on the roof. That's all I want to do. And I might even mix a little bit of blue and white to put onto that. So let me just take some white here and take a touch of blue, a bit of white, and with that colour on your knife, let's just put a little bit of that on there. And that's nice then against the red, isn't it? There. That's all we need, really. Just like that with the palette knife, isn't that lovely? Now I'm going to go back to this roof and I'm going to introduce some more burnt sienna, because the colours are kind of much warmer on the photograph. Now again, I'm looking at my tablet, you see, and my tablet doesn't show colours as rich as the phone, the picture on the phone, so I have to account for that. So I'm going to make this a little warmer. I hope you don't mind. Just here and there. And again, I'm going to go very dark then just at the end here. Alright, that'll do. So next we have a little roof there, don't we? A very dark browny, kind of a blacky roof. So let's take some lamp black and some burnt umber, and I'm going to put that in, and it comes down, so let's just say here, and it comes across and it turns there, doesn't it? And I'm going to put some black into this, just for this section here. And I'm going to just lighten this side very slightly, and with a pointy brush let's suggest the caps on the chimney. So it's a very, very old house, and nothing is really where it should be, is it? It's kind of bits and pieces here and there. Now I'm going to put a nice shadow on that roof. So I'm going to take some black and brown, and I'm just going to pull a little shadow through the thatch. Just like that. And then we have another one on the other side, don't we? So I'm going to switch brushes. I got a clean brush for that. And this is going to be very bright. It's really bright here now. But before I do this, I want to get this background in here. So again, I'm going to go back to my rough brush, take up some brown, some dark brown, and let me see now. Let me see. I'll just go along here like this. Make it very sort of bushy, we'll say. Nice bushy colour, dark brown. Let's just pull that in there. And let's take a little bit of black with a touch of burnt sienna. Darken it down very slightly there. And it almost kind of continues into this bank, doesn't it? But before I bring it down further, what I would like to do is just to brighten it very slightly there, maybe with some lighter colour bushes going through it. So let's just, now I'm assuming the light is coming from the right hand side, so it's going to be light here and dark here. So I'm going to keep the highlight on the right hand side. Okay, I'm just suggesting some bushes and all sorts of things there, just at the side of the house there. Well, let's take a little bit of yellow. And that'll do fine. We have kind of little bits of wood sticking up and all that kind of stuff. We could put a little bit of that in if you want. Just grab a bit of Naples yellow. And let's just suggest some kind of posts and all sorts of things. Again, I like to keep things simple, as you know. So I'm not putting too much detail on any of this. It's just an indication of some stuff in that side. It's just a very loose indication. So we have a nice bright colour here on that gable. So I'm going to put that in now, and I'm going to use this little flat brush with some white, plenty of white. And now it's just kind of plain white on the photograph, but I'm going to brighten it slightly. I'm going to take some Naples yellow into that, and I'll take a touch of red. Let's just try that. More Naples yellow. What I want is a very bright kind of a salmony kind of a colour. And I'm going to paint the chimney breast there, like that. So let's take a touch more Naples yellow. And a bit more white. And this is a real fun painting to try. I love painting cottages, Irish old cottages. They're fantastic because they have loads of character, don't they? Now I'm going to bring it out further here. And you see, I even picked up some of the brown there, but that's fine. That will help the composition slightly as well. So it's already giving it a little bit of contrast and little shadows here and there on the stone. Okay, you can suggest some of the stonework as well. I will bring that chimney breast up just slightly. It needs to be a little higher, I'd say. And we can, let's see now, let's kind of step back and just have a quick look at this. I will put in a suggestion of that roof just on the back here. Like so. And you could even put in a suggestion of the brickwork as well. Why not? Let's put in couple of little lines here just to suggest some of the shadows on the brick, because it's a very old house. So there's going to be little bits of dirt on the wall and dark stones popping through. Okay, just like that. And I'm going to put a nice dark line just along the gable here, just under the roof. And again, I'm kind of softening it into the gable slightly, just to suggest some broken stones and stuff like that. It's a very old, very old house. So next we have a shadow for that roof, or for that chimney, rather. So I'm going to take some blue with a little red. And if a wall is white, then the shadows will always pretty much be kind of a bluey, mauvey kind of a colour. So let me put this in a bit more blue, I reckon. You see? Even add a touch of it just here as well, as we have it on our brush. And then I'm going to introduce a little black into that shadow, just here and there. Now we do have a shadow falling on the roof as well, so I'm going to take some red and a touch of blue. So I'm going to make a nice little shadowy colour for that red. There we are. Like so. And then just take a little black on the point of your brush. And let's just suggest little caps and all that sort of stuff on the top of this roof here, or this chimney. And we can put some terracotta pots up there as well. Okay. And we could even give those a little bit of highlight if you wish. Because all of these little highlights will help. And we could give this chimney a little bit of highlight as well. So I'm kind of looking around now and I'm picking out little spots here and there which I think would benefit. Next, a nice dark colour for this. And I'm going to do that with some blue. Let's take some blue and put it into this mix and dampen your brush. A little bit of blue and a little red. And again, I'm going to keep this now on the bluey side, just to brighten it slightly, because I don't want it very, very dark, to be honest. Let's just try this. And that's even still a bit dark, isn't it? So let's brighten it slightly. Take a good dollop of white. Let's try that. That's a bit better. I think that's a bit better one now. We'll just paint this for now. We're going to be adding more colours into this, you see. This is, when I'm kind of looking at this now, I'm thinking, yeah, the base colour. That's pretty much what I'm thinking. So I'll use that as the base colour. And we'll add colours to this then. I hope you follow. Just tuck it up there under that roof. And there we go. It's not dead straight, is it? So we have the shadow colour. Next what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little black on my brush. Now there's a bit of brown on that black as well. So just a little. And just here where it meets the light, I'm going to pull some of that dark colour into it, and then it's going to fade away. You see? So let's try that again. Put some dark colour into it there, and then it fades away, and I'm going to kind of put some in just here and there as well on the wall, just to create some texture. So let's try it again. So to separate these two now, we're going to try it on this one. And I know it's not on the photograph, but again, you have an artistic license, it's there to be used. So I'm going to change it slightly. And again, just pulling it through here and there. And then just clean our brush quickly and pick up some white, and let's do the same and introduce some highlights, some of that. And what I might do is just where these two walls meet, kind of ruffle up just a little bit so that they almost merge into one wall, you see? Where one stops and the other one begins. So let's take some bright colour and let's put a hint of some brickwork in there as well. I'm just flicking the brush around here and there. That's all. And what I might do there is just soften this line very gently. It's a little harsh, isn't it? There we are. Yeah, that's better, isn't it? You think that's better? I would say it is. And I'm just going to bring this down just a little bit. And then I'm going to pull the thatch down into that colour. So creating a kind of a canopy with the roof. And that will help push that kind of a dark grey colour in underneath the roof. There, you see, easily done. So let's take a look. Let's see what we have here. I'm going to rough up the wall. I'm kind of looking at it here now and deciding what's the best way to go about this. I'm just going to take some white from my palette here. I might bring the red roof down a little bit more. I think it's a little bit high, so I might just bring that down a little. Let me just get some of that colour. There we go. I'm going to just pull it down ever so slightly. Maybe in a little bit of black. And there's a nice kind of a shadow just under that. There. So next, everyone, we have windows, don't we? And I'm going to take pointy brush with some black and some blue, and I'm going to suggest a window here in the center of this one. And then a little black, put a little black over the top, like that, and I'm going to darken it just on one side of that window. You see? Then I can just use a light grey colour to emphasise the window frames. You see? Nice and simple. There's nothing complicated whatsoever about this. It's just painting boxes, that's all it is. I'm going to do the same on this one. Now there's a door in the centre here, so the window is slightly to one side, isn't it? And then I'm going to take some black, darken it on one side. And I'm going to just put a little highlight on the reveal, just in here. And then suggest one or two little window frames just here and there. So, and then we have a very dark front door, don't we? So let's just take some black and some brown and put in a nice dark front door. There we are, almost to the top. And then we can take our grey colour let's actually take a bit brighter one and just suggest a nice little reveal in there as well. And we can even suggest some bits of wood here and there on the front door, because it's a very old front door, isn't it? That's just to create a little shadow just underneath that. Get a little shadow just under there. Now a bit more blue than that. There we go. And then I'll soften that down then with my soft brush very gently. So you can go back over all this again, you see, later, fine tune everything, straighten. And when it's dry, I will probably even go back over it with some other bits and pieces as well. So how is that looking for now? It's not bad at all, is it? I'm just going to suggest some more little bricks here and there. Let me do some dark ones. And it just helps create some kind of roughage on the wall here and there, on that wall as well. So all these little details now that I'm painting is just a suggestion. Very, very loose. So that's pretty much our buildings finished. We can come back to them later and do more little bits and pieces if we like. But I think I might just leave it as it is for now. So nice and simple. We have a little wall here. So I suppose we could get that in. But before I do, I'm just going to fill in this area here. I'm going to take some, scrub it around like so, and what I'm actually going to do then is just sort of soften it here and there with my fingertip into that wall colour, so everything sort of blends seamlessly in together then, doesn't it? And in fact what you could do is take some Naples yellow, some cadmium yellow, and suggest little bits of grass here and there as well. You see? Because this is in shadow here, so it's really, really very dark. I want to take a little black and a bit of... There we go. And let's take a little bit of brown. That's it. That's that section done. We could work on details and suggest a ladder left against the wall. Let's suggest a little bike. As well. So all these little small details, you see? It's just creating some life in the painting. That's kind of all I'm trying to achieve, really. Just a little life. I'm going to fill in this wall here and fill in all this very loosely. I'll do this first. With the same brush now I'm going to take some burnt sienna and take some burnt umber. So everything then works together. Everything works with one another. All the colours. Okay, and let me get some dark brown here for this. And I'm working almost just with thick paint on its own. There's hardly any. So, more burnt umber, and it's very dark around here, isn't it? So, the red will keep it warm, you see. And let's put a little down here. There's a hint of green in there as well, so I'm just going to add some cadmium yellow to that, here and there. And let's just leave that as it is for now. And then I am going to get, now there's a number of different ways of creating the grass on this. We could use our large flat brush. So I'll give you an idea of how I would do that. You could just put some flicks here and there, like so. Okay, so that could be one way of doing it. You could use your smaller brush. So give it a quick clean. So this one, we could use this as well. So let's try this one, see how that looks. So that gives us a very similar effect, doesn't it? So let's just put some brights up around here now. Or we could use the fan brush. And let me get a fan brush here for you. Okay. So we have a number of different ways that we can do this. And that's just creating a nice rough area in here with lots of grasses and stuff kind of poking through. I will take a little, and I'm going to put some dark areas in as well. So you can see now it's kind of, the darks really do help, I find. You could, if you wanted to, just paint all this very dark blacky brown and then work in your highlights into that. Now normally I might wait till this is dry before doing this, but you can do it wet into wet as well. I would take some cadmium yellow. It just adds to the feeling of the light, the sunlight kind of catching the tips of the grasses here and there. And this is very hard to do now because catching the sun. There we go. Isn't that lovely? And it's a simple. I might create a bit of light on this actually before I do that. Sorry now, let me just go a bit more, I think. There, that's fine. So a nice grey for this wall. More white again. So a little bit of cobalt blue, a little bit of cadmium red. Kind of a grey. And let's just fill that in there. Oh, and it gets smaller as it goes over, you see? And that gives us the impression of some, and it's going to disappear again. Click on this. So with a flat brush, nice small flat brush, let's take some Naples yellow, which I don't have. Little touch of Naples yellow. And let's suggest some brick on this wall. So little flat strokes here and there. And suggest some thick ones and some thin ones. Come along with our little pointy brush and put some little detail in with that as well. Let's take some burnt sienna into this. Or some Naples yellow with some white. And I'm just going to start hitting them here and there. And get some dark black, nice dark blacky, watery dark blacky colour. Just here and there. Again, be very, very loose with this. I'm not going to try and paint every single in a landscape. So although you look kind of quite close to it, it doesn't look like a brick or a rock, but when you stand back and look at the landscape as a whole,